And Accra High Court has granted bail to former SSNIT Director-General Ernest Thompson, who's facing charges of causing financial loss to the state. Mr. Thompson, together with 4 others, pleaded not guilty to various charges, including causing financial loss, of course, in the award of the $72 million OBS contract. Director-General of the SSNIT, Dr. John Kojo Ofori-Tinkran, in August 2017, told JoyNews the entire OBS system was not functioning despite the huge amounts spent on it. Joseph Akable followed proceedings in court today and will be joining me very soon in the studio with some details. But let's look at some information, background information to this before Joseph joins me in the studio.
Brief facts are that Social Security and National Insurance Trust wanted to update their operations by going IT to the extent that they want to catch up with best trends. A contract was executed. Now, prior to that, there was an advert for bidding. In the end, a company which did not even offer a bid was offered the contract together with a Malaysian company, purportedly to form a consortium. The agreement was in the sum of about $34 million US. But in the end, other payments were made for services that were already covered in the contract sum. And therefore, they proceeded under what they captioned as variations and orders, which ballooned the figure to in excess of $66 million US. Accused persons played different roles in causing this loss to the state. So they have been arraigned for causing these losses, and that would include conspiracy. That would include several heads of causing financial loss to the state. That would include offenses contrary to the Procurement Act. And for the 4th accused person, he also gained admission as SSNIT based on qualifications and certificates in his possession, which he didn't really possess. And so for these reasons, they have been arraigned before court.
Earlier, you had mentioned that you only proceed to court when you are satisfied that you have enough to take on. Are we to understand that with your assessment of the documents?
I think you have answered the question. I think you have. I'm in court.
Okay. But already the defense lawyers are raising some issues about the fact that the taxpayer, you take a lot of tax from the company, yet you describe the company in court as a non-existent
company. First of all, let me pose a question. Even brothels that operate illegally, if they are taxable, they are taxed before they are arraigned before court. So if there is an unknown entity, they claim, I don't have any evidence showing that an unknown and non-existent company has been paying tax to the country. At this stage, the evidence will show, ultimately, whether or not what they are saying is true. But when we speak about a non-existent company, companies don't just come into being. There are processes for registering companies that are recognized in law in this country. I would not go further than that because I do not want to be doing my case ahead of the hearings.
All right, you hear the Attorney General there. Well, Joseph Akable has joined me in the studio, rather, to give us the background. And Joseph, it's good to have you. Now, tell us the names, and then let's go with each person's charge.
Okay, so the names are, there's Ernest Thompson, like you indicated in your intro, the former Director General of SSNIT. There is also John Hagan Mensah. He was the former Information Technology Infrastructure Manager of SSNIT until he was appointed to be in charge of the OBS project that was carried out by SSNIT. There is also Juliet Hassana Kramer. She is the head of the Perfect Business Systems, the company that executed the contract. We also have Caleb Kweku Afaglo, the General Manager of the Management Information Systems at SSNIT between October 2015 and January 2017. And the 5th person is Peter Haibo. He is the General Counsel for SSNIT. So these are the 5 individuals who have been put before the court.
Okay, so let's take them one after the other and see if we can do justice to the matters on the table. Let's start with the Director General, Ernest Thompson.
So a number of charges against him, different counts, has to do with willfully causing financial loss to the state. What we have seen the AG do in the various cases is that they range it in terms of the differentiate between the counts. So for instance, there is conspiracy to commit crime, namely willfully causing financial loss to the state. Before that of the willfully causing financial loss to the state itself is leveled against him. Some other charges that are against Mr. Thompson has to do with the bit about still on losses, but in terms of different amounts. So the point the AG is making is that each of the variations they did, it led to a certain amount being caused as a loss. So if you count the willfully causing financial loss to the state alone,
so each amount comes with a different charge. That's interesting,
so
isn't it?
That one alone, you have about 9 of them.
Wow.
Just for the willfully causing financial loss to the state.
So
that
willfully
is one.
causing financial loss to the state, 9 different charges of willfully causing financial loss to the state against Mr. Thompson.
Against Mr. Thompson. Then you have the conspiracy to willfully cause financial loss to the state.
That makes it 10.
That you have about 4 of those ones again leveled. So in terms of the counts, we are looking at 29 against all 5 of them. Yes. So that is it for Mr. Thompson, largely based on the bit about causing the financial loss.
The next person will be?
So the next one, John Hagan Mensah, also faces a similar situation like Mr. Thompson. He has that of the various counts of willfully causing financial loss to the state and conspiracy to cause financial loss to the state. Juliet Hassan Akrama, in addition to those charges that have been leveled against her, there's the bit about defrauding by false pretense. And in that particular scenario, the narration Attorney General gave in court was that the company was not registered at the time that they signed the contract with SSNIT. In fact, she described the company as a non-existent company, and that was what she made reference to in the soundbite. Because in court, the lawyer for the woman, Thaddeus Sori, had said that they've been, in fact, the range of companies that pay a lot of taxes, he says that company is named as one of the highest tax-paying companies. So Thaddeus Sori's argument was that you are accusing the person that the company doesn't exist. Yet when a person makes payments of taxes, in fact, the person is one of the highest contributors of taxes, you don't say the person's company is not registered, you take the tax, yet you've come to court. And that is where the AG argues
claiming that the company is non-existent.
Yet you are taking their taxes. And that is when the AG responds that even a brothel, if you want to prosecute those individuals, then you have to tax them. You tax them, yet you prosecute them. That's her response.
That's
to
very
that. So that is it with Juliet Hassan Akrama in terms of the charges. Caleb Kwekwa Faglo, if you recall, a bit about his qualifications came up. We are told that the first degree was fake, the master's was fake, same with the PhD.
Well.
Now what is interesting is that the counts against him, they've separated it. So the first one is the fact that the first degree is fake. That's a different count. The second count is that the master's is fake. The third being the fact that the PhD is fake. Now apart from that, he has been charged, each of them, the possession of the documents they claim is fake. So forged documents for each of the 3 certificates have also been attached. So that in itself, you are looking at about six counts in all against him. Yeah.
And are there any others? Willfully causing financial or conspiracy?
So the bit about defrauding by false pretense is also coming up against him as well. Then that of Peter Haibotu, he was the general counsel, the legal head of legal at SSNIT. So he also has the bit about the causing financial loss, the ranges all slapped on him. Then beyond that, you have the bit about defrauding also being attached to it.
But it's interesting, though, Joseph, that some of them don't seem to have photos attached to their, their profiles that we're putting up there. Is there any special reason?
The bit is that they are not individuals who are publicly known. In fact, for Juliet, for John Hagan Mensah, for instance, as well as Juliet Kramer.
He was a project manager.
Yeah, he was a project manager. For someone like Juliet Kramer, for most people who made it to the courtroom, it was the very first time they were seeing her in person. Apart from the name that had been bandied around throughout the start of the process. So that is why we don't have photographs indicating that.
What happened in court today? Tell us about their demeanors and how the conversation went, etc.
In fact, they were in court very early as 9 a.m. I met Ernest Thompson right at the entrance of the courtroom. He was happy. In fact, he spoke to us. He was waiting for proceedings to start. They had to wait till about 11 a.m. Before the case was called. For their demeanor, for the others, they didn't seem to be that smiling that much, like compared to Mr. Thompson, as we had seen. And Mr. Thompson, he spoke to us, he was calm, he was the usual Mr. Thompson that we know. He was led by his lawyers, they appeared in court, they made arguments for bail, and his lawyer, Mr. Abednego Tete, said that he doesn't want to do much talking. The evidence will do the talking for him, and that they can't wait for the roll action to start. This was just the opening statements, and he says when the evidence itself comes, they are sure that those who don't understand the contract, he said, as far as they are concerned, the contract allows for amendments to be made in terms of the variations, which we are told balloon the figure from $34 million to the 74 and beyond that we've heard in the public domain. He says the evidence they will be providing will show that those people saying that don't understand the contract. So they were all granted bail based on the request they put before the judge.
All 5 of them?
All 5 of them, yeah.
And when do they go back to court?
It's supposed to be October 17. So that is when we are expecting the trial to start proper, unless there are some initial issues that the lawyers will raise. And obviously, as we've seen in the other cases, we expect a request to be made for documents. If you don't agree,
that
then
could even prolong it.
Yeah, if you don't agree, then the back and forth starts. But that is what we expect to take place on October 17. Okay,
Joseph, thank you so much for that update. Anything else we need to know that I haven't asked?
Just the NCA one also, they came up, I mean, you recall, I've also been on hold for a long time because of the back and forth about the documents. In fact, it was the case that was referred to the Supreme Court. So the judge came in today. He has also adjourned to October, but the AG, even before the case was called today, had sent the documents to them already. So the judge has adjourned to October. Due to the legal vacation, it starts on August 1. Yes, that's the start of the legal vacation.
Which means that you won't be going to court much.
Myself, I'll be on leave.
Okay, so all the people who are expecting him to be on leave, he will be coming on leave. Joseph, thank you so much. But we will be in court in October to follow all these cases. So remember that Dr. Opuni's case is also pending. We'll be bringing you all of those updates. Our man here, Joseph Akable, will be doing that for us. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty, and Dorothy.